So let me tell you the first one. Hukmul Jahiliya means the rule of al-Jahiliya. The rule, the governance of al-Jahiliya. The first thing Allah criticizes is أَفَحُكْمُ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ يَبْغُونَ. Are they looking to pass verdicts and decisions? Are they looking for wisdom of Jahiliyyah? In other words, when you don't have restraint on yourself, and that's the other thing I should have mentioned. Aql in Arabic is not just thinking. Aql is also self-control. Aql also means self-control. Tying yourself up, holding yourself back. Jahiliyyah actually then means a lack of self-control. You know, this helps you understand what Musa alayhi salam said when Banu Israel were talking about what color cow, you know. And he said, "A'udhu billahi an akuna min al-jahilin." I seek Allah's refuge, I might become from the jahilin. He's not worried that he might become one of those idiots who are asking stupid questions. He's not worried about that. He's worried about losing control. Because when he lost control some time ago in his life, he threw a punch. So when you lose control, you also become jahil. And when you maintain control, you become what? Aqil. Allah criticizes hukmul jahiliyyah, entire governance, decisions made based on a lack of control, whim. Just an emotion came and you acted. You acted out of jahl. This is why people who say whatever comes out of their mouth, they have no restraint. They just, whatever comes out of their mouth, they say. They're also called jahil. This is why Allah says, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. When the jahil speak to them, what does that mean? They have no restraint in what they say. They use whatever language they feel like. Now let me tell you what it means, decision making based on jahiliyyah, that Allah criticizes. Let me give you some modern examples of that. You have, for example, you're not allowed. You can lose your counseling license. So if you want to be a psychiatrist, a therapist, etc., you have to say, you're entitled to your feelings. If you're having that feeling, that must be a good thing. You should live by those feelings. And that's the only way you'll ever get happiness, is you do whatever you feel. Because of course, our constitution and our way of thinking is life, liberty, and the pursuit of what? The pursuit of happiness. You should be able to do what you want. I would argue, really? You should be able to do what you want? And people have feelings all the time. I feel like slapping people all the time. You know? How many crazy thoughts go through a teenage boy's mind? How many feelings go through his mind? You're saying he has a right to act on all of his feelings? There are no restraints? Isn't that the most insane worldview? You should be able to do whatever you feel like? If everybody started doing that, what would we be left with? We'd be left with utter chaos. The entire idea of aql is what? Restraint. There are some things you have to hold back. You might have a feeling, but it's not a good idea to act on it. It's not good for you and it's not good for someone else. There has to be some restraint. That's the idea of hukmul jahiliyyah. The rule, decision making, a thought process that is based on no restraints. Just feeling. And by the way, that is the kind of thinking that has been glorified in our day and age. Like the most advanced kind of thinking is hukmul jahiliyyah. What the Quran calls hukmul jahiliyyah. Subhanallah. And why is it that? You know why that is? It's so beautiful. The reason they say hukmul jahiliyyah, do whatever you feel like, is so powerful because we cherish the idea of freedom. Because when you do whatever you feel like, that means you're truly what? Free. Look at how Allah comments in one ayah on this idea. أَفَحُكْمُ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ يَبْغُونَ وَلَهُ أَسْلَمَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Done. Are they seeking the governance, the rule, the decision-making of Jahiliyyah, while Allah, to Him, everyone and everything submits? The idea of submission is the exact opposite idea of freedom. If you've submitted to someone, that means you're not free. If you're completely not under any submission, of any pressure, of any kind, that means you're free. Allah says, did they forget that they're in submission in their very existence? They seek hukmul jahiliyyah. If Allah were to give them freedom, do whatever you want, exist, then Allah doesn't have to take care of them. You and I are dependent on the rain that Allah sends, on the air that Allah sends. Our bodies are submitted to the nature Allah made of them. Our bones are bent the way Allah wanted them to bend. The joints work the way Allah wants. Our entire bodies are in submission to Allah. You want to be free? If Allah lets this creation go, it doesn't stand a chance. It doesn't exist on its own, subhanAllah. So that's the first kind of jahiliyyah. I'll go quickly now. Dhannul jahiliyyah. ظن الجاهلية. وتظنون بالله ظن الجاهلية غير الحق in Surah Al Imran. When things get bad for weak believers, this is the second category. When things get bad for weak believers and they think that holding on to Islam will ruin their life. Islam is the thing that is ruining their life. It's making things difficult for them. If they didn't have Islam, things would have been so much easier. There were munafiqun and some who weren't even munafiq. They were weak in Iman in the battle of Uhud. When things got really bad in the battle of Uhud, dhannul jahiliyyah came in their minds. We've been destroyed. We should have stayed home. This Islam thing has destroyed us. It's ruined us. In other words, dhannul jahiliyyah, Allah describes when somebody makes sacrifices for the sake of Allah and they look back and say, I shouldn't have made those sacrifices. I should have done other things with my life instead of making these decisions for Allah. You know, I missed out. The people who didn't make the same sacrifices, look at them. They have a better career now. They have a better business now. They have a better this or that or the other now. And I was left behind in dunya. Well, you know what? When you make a decision, a sacrifice for the sake of Allah, like I'll tell you a real example. I met somebody. When those thoughts start creeping in your mind, that's a decision you made clearly for Allah was a bad idea. That basically is what? Dhannul jahiliyyah. Is dhannul jahiliyyah. You're not thinking clearly. You don't know what you're saying. That's jahiliyyah. The third kind of jahiliyyah is actually directed at women. It's tabarruj al-jahiliyyah. It's beautifying yourself, the beautification of jahiliyyah. Don't decorate yourself. Don't dress yourself up, dressing up of al-jahiliyyah. Now let's go back to the meaning of al-jahiliyyah. Not knowing and not thinking, yeah? You don't know the impact of the way you're dressed on yourself, and you don't know the impact of the way you're dressed on other people. A young girl who's 10 years old has an older sister. The older sister decides that she wants to get a belly ring and show it off. She wears these t-shirts that expose her stomach. She wears tight jeans or whatever she wears, and she's going out, Muslim girl. The young girl who's 10 years old, who's memorizing Quran and studying and all this stuff and wants to be a good girl, her role model, whether you like it or not, who's her role model? Her older sister. The decision this older girl made isn't just for herself. She's leaving an impact on a child. She's making an impact on a child, you know? Forget about, the men will look at her and all this other, forget all that stuff. Talk about within the family, what has she done? For this child, what has she done? She has an impact on these things. Then of course, if she's living in the United States or living in Canada or maybe she's in some other university somewhere and around her are non-Muslims. And she's a Muslim. When she's dressed inappropriately or she's exposing herself, and she feels like this is her freedom. Because, when you question it, what's the first question that comes up? I'm free to do whatever I want. You can't tell me what to do. The discussion is always about freedom, isn't it? And jahiliyyah, what is it at the end? Doing whatever you want. That's the glorifying that idea. Now the thing about this, I want to do or dress or, look however I want. The truth of it, sometimes I got myself in a lot of trouble. There was a sister, she came to me and she was dressed, I had to look away. And she said, I know you think I'm a bad person. And I said, I don't think that. That's for Allah to decide. That's not for me to decide. Well, the way I'm dressed and stuff. I was like, okay, well, that's your decision. I would not let my family dress that way. And I don't think that's an appropriate way to dress, but you made that decision. I didn't call it inappropriate. You called it inappropriate. Why did you call it inappropriate? Like, if you even think it's wrong, why are you wearing it? So I asked her that. And you don't want to ask sisters questions like that. You get in trouble. But I'm addicted to trouble. So why do you dress like that? I just asked her, if you don't think it's right, why do you dress like that? And the answer she gave me was very strange. I don't think this is the answer for all women, by the way. I don't. But the answer she gave me just left me stunned. She said, I just want to feel beautiful because my boyfriend keeps telling me I'm ugly. That's it. That was it. That was it. There's nothing else. Just so I asked her a follow-up question. So you're not dressing like this for yourself? Because you feel good? Because you like? It's because other people should tell you you look beautiful? That's why? She said, yeah. You know, subhanallah. How just that one wanting to feel beautiful, just that can drive someone to that point. You know? This is tabarruj al-jahiliyyah. You're not thinking clearly. What makes a person beautiful, what makes a woman beautiful will not come from other people's words. It won't come from their words. It won't come from the way they stare at you. You know, but then, and that beauty is supposed to be acknowledged by who? It's supposed to be acknowledged by the father. It's supposed to be acknowledged by the husband. They're supposed to acknowledge the beauty of their daughters and their wives. They're supposed to do that. And when they don't do that, then it becomes tabarruj al-jahiliyyah. Then it goes in the wrong direction. Subhanallah. Just for the husband to not compliment the beauty of his wife is encouraging her to do tabarruj al-jahiliyyah. You know that? Just that much. Is encouraging her, well, I don't get his attention. I must be ugly. But you know, by nature, a woman does not want to be or feel ugly. That nature will find some unnatural course to fulfill itself. It's supposed to be fulfilled by the husband. It's supposed to be fulfilled by the family. Then don't go yelling at women that are dressing up or wearing makeup or this or that, or they wear hijab, but look at how the rest of them is dressed and what they do. Wait, hold on. There's something deeper going on here that we haven't addressed. And we have to especially do this for our younger girls. Give them the right kind of self-esteem, so they don't look for that attention anywhere else, because tabarruj al-jahiliyyah is huge now. You know, in America, we're really happy we came here, by the way, because basically strong emotions, anger, excitement, you know, that is based on jahiliyyah. When you feel strongly about something, but the thing you feel strongly about is not worthy of you feeling strongly about it. Let me give you an example. People can get into fights about Chelsea versus, you know, Barcelona. Fine. I don't even know. They can get into fights about it. They're ready to kill. They're mob breakouts. Cars are being burnt because they lost a match. People are so aggravated emotionally. Why? That's called hamiyatul jahiliyyah. Excited emotions that are rooted in nothing. That are rooted in nothing. Hamiyatul jahiliyyah nowadays is also racism. I commented before about the attitudes towards immigrants, for example, in many countries. These people, look at what they've done. You sit home and drink beer all day and yell at these people who go to work. But they don't deserve and you deserve. This is hamiyatul jahiliyyah. It takes many forms. But in any kind of emotional attachment that you have, that is not based on reality. By the way, Muslims are capable of hamiyatul jahiliyyah too. For Islam. It's crazy, and that sounds crazy. You could have hamiyatul jahiliyyah, you could have excited emotions for the sake of Islam, and it's still ignorant. It's still ignorant. We love our Prophet ﷺ. When our Prophet ﷺ is insulted, it makes us angry. Absolutely it does. But when that anger makes us act in a way that has no restraint, and our entire religion is restraint, and that anger makes us act that is completely devoid of the actual knowledge of how you should act, you just want to act, that's called hamiyatul jahiliyyah. That's a quality of disbelievers. You have to have control over your emotions. So hukmul jahiliyyah, the decision making based on ignorance. Decision making based on no restraints. Then there's dhannul jahiliyyah, assumptions made about whether or not your sacrifices were worth something. Then tabarruj al-jahiliyyah, beautification done for just absolutely ignorant reasons, no good reasons. And then finally, hamiyatul jahiliyyah, loyalties, emotions, aggravated emotions for things that don't deserve it. For things that don't deserve it. Subhanallah. Hamiyya is a good thing. Hamiyatul jahiliyyah is a bad thing. Dhann is a good thing. Dhannul jahiliyyah is a bad thing. Hukum is a good thing. Hukm al-jahiliyyah is a bad thing. Tabarruj is actually a good thing. Tabarruj al-jahiliyyah is a bad thing. May Allah Azza wa Jal not make us people of al-jahiliyyah and give us a better understanding of His book. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thanks for watching.